Hi everyone, welcome to episode 2 of the Galactic Era Let's Play. This episode we'll get into the production and mining aspects of the game, as well as going over some of the other UI elements. So let's keep going with the tutorial and check out the space station. So the space station is where you kick off your jobs, be it converting your or extracting the useful bits of the rock you mine from the space mine into ore. Then you refine that ore into tier 1 materials, which you then use to produce hulls and modules. For now, we're going to need a blueprint to build stuff. So we're going to build a frigate, but first we need the blueprint. So let's buy the blueprint, and then we can go into the production tab to make it. Now we've got some starting materials to do this, but later on we'll create a mining ship, get those raw resources, and walk through the other steps. Alright, so for now we want to produce just a single hull. Alright, and we're going to use some of our credits to speed up this process. So this UI here shows you all your job threads. Later on, we start off with 2, but this is something you can train up to have way more. And this shows you how long the duration of your jobs are. It's something also you can click on to accelerate. Not every job that is displayed here can be accelerated. It's not just jobs. It's like when you're moving ships between planets, or when we get into the training skills, those also show up here. And the movement and training skills cannot be sped up. But in this case, the production jobs can be. So we're going to spend 1 credit and produce our frigate. Now we can go into this guy, edit, and click on upgrade hull. Now what this is going to do is, this outline here shows you what the next level's possibilities are. The ones that are in like a little bit bolder red are basically the things you're going to get access to the next hull upgrade. The red ones are, I think, some level in the future you'll be able to get those slots open. But right now, if we upgrade, it's going to consume the level 1 frigate hull we just created and give us access to these 2 new weapon slots, or not weapon slots, just slots on the ship. So we could use them for weapons, we could use them for, if you want, engines or more CPU. For now, I'm just going to drop 2 shields on here. Save, and let's fight another mission while we're checking here. I'll just do 1 just to show you how the shields look like. So whereas armor, let me pause this real quick, whereas armor protects the things directly behind it and it doesn't fully cover everything around the ship. A shield envelops the whole ship and protects the whole ship. However, some weapon types are really good against shields, like lasers, so they'll bring it down fairly quickly. But railguns and missiles, railguns have a negative attribute to them, like they do worse against shields than against armor. And missiles kind of do, I think, like somewhere in the middle as far as damage goes. We'll inspect one of these modules later on and you can see the details, but you can see the shields protected us for a little bit, but then they were destroyed by the lasers, which have a buff against shields. And once those shields went down, those module slots at the edges weren't covered by the armor, so they were very exposed to damage. So that's that. Let me upgrade the ship a little bit more. I don't know, this is one of the more entertaining things for me, just making my ship better, tweaking it a little bit here and there. Making it more powerful and trying more missions. So we got a couple upgrades here to make our ship more powerful. Early on, so we need more cores, and this is something we don't have available yet. So we can build this. Actually, there's one other thing I wanted to show, but we can keep one of the level 2s and have a level 1, and we have just enough CPU to get there. One other thing I wanted to show was, so the items listed here when you're going into main missions, that shows what the ships have, what they're fit with, the enemy ships. And this is also indicating something that these are the drops that are available at this level. So here you can see railguns. Now later on, these first 2 missions were just railguns and lasers, even though the ships had like armor and power cores and engines. But later on, they should start having. Here we get miners and whatnot. So let's see, level 6. It might be a bit later on, but you'll see this list have 3, 4, 5 items representing everything that the enemy ships have, and this will be the items that can drop. Let's skip to building a mining ship. Now, one thing we could do, we could just build another frigate and fit it out with. Do we have? I think we've got some. Yeah, we got some mining drills. But if after you hit level, actually, you can probably just after you log in, just refresh the page, and you're going to be shown this activity screen, which is going to be not going to be unlocked. So you have like daily rewards, which kind of helps you get off the ground early on. But the first 8 rewards includes a M frigate. So this is a mining frigate. It has buffs for mining, so this will be very handy for what we want right now. The other things we can pick up also are some leveling gifts. So each level you get, I think, up to 30 gives you some rewards. So early on, they give you enough resources to get you going. So let's build a second hull. Now this is a mining ship. Actually, let me disassemble this and just show you real quick. So if I go to info here, it tells me that this has buffs to mining speed and cargo space. So mining speed just makes you drill through the rock faster and collect more rock faster. And cargo space lets you have more rock fit on your ship. Along with that, you can have containers which expand your cargo space. And then you got your mining drills, which are the things that actually do the drilling. But also handy things include engines, and I'll get into why that's handy a little bit in a second. So let's build that mining ship. And one thing you'll notice is these outlines for what you're kind of expected to put in these various slots. So our basic frigate didn't have any of these, but there are several varieties of each hull type that has buffs to certain kinds of things or reductions in certain other attributes. In our case, we're getting a buff to mining speed and cargo. There's a sniping configuration for a hull, which gives you more range. There's an assault configuration, which gives you more attack damage, but at the cost of range. There's a defensive configuration, which buffs your shield and makes your armor stronger. And maybe, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it improves the effectiveness of your PDLs, your space AA. There's a speed build, and I'm maybe forgetting another one, but there's all the variations have restrictions on what you can place at some of these open tiles. But for this, we're going to need 2 engines, and this is going to make your travel between the space station and the space mine a little bit quicker. And you'll see there's actually, so if I save this and I think you need to have a miner on it before I do that. So let me remove these and show that first. So let me add the mining bits. I'm going to need a core to support all this, and add some containers. So you can see the containers took our cargo space from roughly 2,000 cubic meters to I think it's cubic meters, that's the unit, right? Yeah, cubic meters. And basically doubled it. But without engines, if I go here and select my mining ship, it tells me it's going to take 9 minutes to get to the space mine. Mine for 20 minutes. I have 34 mining speed. This is the number related to the mining drills and plus the buffs I get from the ship. And then there's also some skills I can train up to improve that. But right now I have mining speed of 34. And it's going to take me 20 minutes to fill up my cargo hold, and then 10 minutes to get back. So 10 minutes to get there and another 10 minutes to get back. But I can add some engines to speed that up. And I've got some extra. Do we have enough for? Yeah, I have exactly enough CPU to get both engines. And now let's see how much that reduces it by. Down to a minute, right? So now in a minute, I'm going to fly out there, fill up what it can, and fly back. So I'm going to dispatch this guy. And in the later episode, I'll show what you do with the rocks that are in the cargo hold of this mining ship when it gets back. So, all right. Oh yeah, I was going to go into the main UI, kind of describe some of the things I've been alluding to, and then go into the galaxy and show you that. So on the top left, you've got your kind of your user information. This is your avatar. You can go through and there's some preset. I think there's like 100 images or so. For now, we're just going to go with the spaceship looking one. You can also provide a URL to an image that you want, and that could be your avatar. It's something you host yourself, so some third-party website. Other bits of important information: if you want to reset your password, or enter an email if you forget your password and you want to reset it. Now, this is something that you don't need to create an account, but it kind of can get helpful if you forget your password. Otherwise, your account is basically lost. The other interesting bit here is the server countdown. So every day, once this comes down to 0, it's every 24 hours. The state of the game kind of resets. So it's like a new game day. And what that resets is your daily activities, so we were looking at the daily gift, so that's one it cycles. There's also these events, which are like every time there's a holiday or some kind of special occasion that the devs will want to celebrate, they give you a little bit more rewards. So this is something that's cycled every day. There's also a couple other mechanics that are reset daily, specifically with Legion mechanics. But after that, you've got your name, the planet you're on, and I guess now is a good time to show you what that means. So we're on System 715, Planet 1. So we are on, this is the solar system we're in, 715. Each solar system is made up of a bunch of planets, maybe 10 to 15. Each planet has some moons, some don't. Planets can be conquered by legions. And these icons you see here are the legions that conquered that planet. And the benefits to get out of it, they can invest in its infrastructure. Some things include like money generated. There's like a planet development that gives you money every day as a legion, and then the money can be used for members or for other legion needs. You also have easier access to resources, so you don't have to travel between multiple planets to get access to the resource you want to mine. And we'll get into the difficulty in a second, but there's better quality resources in harder systems. And this is what this number here represents. This is a 2% difficulty system, and that goes up to 200%. So this is a fairly easy system, and you can see I think most, if not all, planets here are conquered. Just before I forget, legions in this game are just like corporations or guilds or clans in other games. So it's just a group of players getting together and conquering systems, building a small little empire. You can, I think, maybe have a little over a dozen planets owned by a single legion. You can have diplomacy and wars between legions and conquer these planets. But yeah, so this is the solar system. And let me zoom out once more. And this is the galaxy view we saw when we were creating our account and selecting starting a system. So now I want to point out that all these circles here, all these white circles, are discovered systems. This is one of the other game mechanics I was kind of talking about at the beginning, which is the exploration and discovery. Every one of these systems was discovered by a player and named by a player. There are still a bunch of systems that have not been discovered. So these are if I select the show all checkbox, these are all these kind of opaque grayed out circles. And there's a game mechanic for sending out a ship which may get lost, and it actually will lose all your modules in your hull. There are skills you can train up to make that less likely, but there's a chance you can completely lose that ship. But if you send that ship and it finds relatively the system, there's a mechanic for, you have to do this multiple times, and each attempt you make at exploring this specific system, you get a better idea of what actual coordinates you need to nail down to be able to fly there consistently. And each attempt, if you get closer to it, you'll be attacked by the local pirates that will defend the system. And the battles there are kind of random, but it can be a very rewarding payout once you do nail down those coordinates. I think it's several, depending on what kind of difficulty you're targeting, it could be in the billions of UCP, which is the game currency. I'll get that in a second. Anyway, so that's the exploration part. There's still lots left over to explore, even for new players. Oh yeah, and these green circles, these are the starting planets, the starting systems we were talking about at the beginning. There's 4 of them. The solar system itself can be conquered. The planets in there can be conquered, except for the first planet. That's the starting system. So of these 4 solar systems, the first one cannot be conquered. But the green line that's connecting them all is like the intergalactic superhighway. Distance is a real thing in this game. That it takes time to travel between all these solar systems. The 4 main solar systems have this special gate, this stargate, that lets the time needed to travel the distance be shortened. Legions, once they conquer a planet, one of the things they can invest in is a stargate of their own, where they can choose where it'll connect to. So that's one of the benefits of owning a planet. You can choose star systems that have better resources than you have available, and then you can mine those. And the stargates can also be upgraded to reduce the time it takes to fly between them. One other thing, once you're in a solar system, another thing you can upgrade as a Legion is, it's called an orbital accelerator. And that just speeds up the travel within the planets and moons within that solar system. That's getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Let's go back to the main UI. So we kind of already talked about this in the first video. These are your action points. So this is what you use when you have a successful attempt at a main mission. If you try and you fail, your ship gets blown up or you just cancel out of it, you don't use up action points. But when you do have a successful one, it is reduced by 5. These are replenished one every, I think, 5 minutes or so. But early on, you'll have a whole ton, mainly because every time you level up, you get 100 extra action points. And anything over your limit here is 200. You will not accrue above it, except for these bonuses as a reward from leveling. Next up is the main currency of the game. It's called UCP. I think it's like Universal Currency Points. You'll use this to spend on upgrading your hulls, upgrading your modules. Every time you upgrade one level to the next, there's a certain amount of UCP that's needed. There are a couple ways to get currency. One is, we saw from doing main missions. But there are other things like you can invest into a space station, we can't invest now, I guess this is locked until we're a bit higher level. Yeah, so maybe level 21. But I can invest in the space station, and as more people use extract or refine jobs or production jobs, I can get a daily dividend of the profits. So the more people that use it, the more profits you can get. And that kind of, we don't have access to this yet, but later on you'll be able to buy stock in the space station. There's also a trade, an intergalactic trade window that, again, you don't have access to at this low level, but you can buy and sell goods on the open market, and that's another way to make money. We mentioned exploration before. If you discover a planet, you can get a lot of cash. After that is credits. So these are things you can use to speed up jobs. You can use it to replenish some currency or replenish some action points if you really want to spend some more time doing main missions. Early on, and honestly for quite a while, you get these fairly frequently. Between your, I think there's like a daily reward that gives you some. Some of the main mission rewards also give you credit. So as you clear more and more missions, you get these stars indicating you've beaten the the easy, medium, or hard modes in the game. And the more the stars you complete in the level, you get access to these rewards. So I already did the first one, so I get a couple hundred metal. But if I wanted to get these other rewards, like more metal, this is the ore, the metal ore, or credits, I need to beat more of the modes in each of these levels. But that's another way to get a lot of credits. So don't worry about spending this. You'll have a ton of it, and it's very hard to really use it effectively early on. So spend it as much as you can when you have it. Activities, we're going through this. So daily and level gifts, these are your rewards for various activities. Subscription card is a premium thing, but you can also buy it on the open market, which gives you some benefits. Events we kind of went over. And then these three things are the premium currency in the game. You can spend some real cash to support the game and get some rewards, which include like increasing how much action points you can accrue, letting you learn more skill learning threads. Initially you started with one, but as you level up you have access to more, but this lets you speed up not the training, but just having more learning threads, so you can learn more things at the same time. And again, this is something that gives you access to it early. You can level up and get access to the same number of learning threads later on. Threads we kind of went over already. Inbox, this is for in-game communication, system communication. It's not for player-to-player communication. Here you get to claim the rewards you get from some activities. If you conquer a planet and you have some notice about how the battle went or the rewards you get from it, you can claim it here. As well as a lot of times whenever there's a daily maintenance where they got to shut the server down for 15 minutes or whatever, they'll send the players a little bit of a reward. Legion tab, or the Legion button, once you join Legion, you'll have access to this. It just lists out your members, some information about your Legion, which planets you guys own, and a couple other things. So this is something later on. Stacks we went over when we're talking about how to get currency. Skills, I've been talking about it kind of on and off throughout the whole thing. It's just you can train up better combat skills, ability to mine faster, mine more, produce goods faster, be more effective when you're refining stuff. There's a bunch of categories that you can have more ships at the same time, access to more depots at the same time. There's a bunch of these. Depots I just mentioned, so I think I already I've shown the screen before, but this is other resources, modules, hulls, and a couple other things that I haven't displayed here yet, but this is the stuff I have at this planet. I can have multiple depots, and I can increase the count between skills and some premium benefits, but for the most part, as a normal player, you're going to have a couple of these, probably in your either your home base, maybe in a couple mining spots that you jump around, and you'll have some places that you want to have a depot so that you can retrofit your ship, you can park some goods, or any number of other things, other reasons you want to have a depot, some goods. Missions, we went over the main stuff, but I wanted to go over the co-op and Legion. Co-op is something where you can join other players, the ships that they have built out, in combat against very powerful enemies, and you can get these very unique rewards that cannot be built or mined anywhere else. And some of them go into this research mechanic, which I'll get into a little bit later. Other ones are used for very advanced upgrades for your ships. They'll need this type of resource, which is only achievable by progressing through the co-op missions. The Legion tab, they're called missions, but it's really a storefront for your Legion. This is where you can turn in your resources. If you've been mining or producing some tier 1 resources, you can turn it into the Legion and get these currency back called Legion points. And Legion points can be used to buy Legion provided hulls and modules and other advanced like tier 2 or tier 3 materials used to build some very advanced hulls. So this is probably the primary way you're going to get the hulls and modules to fit out your ships in battle. It's going to be through your Legion. It's just more efficient for your Legion to use the resources you mine to build all the stuff you need than you were to do it yourself. One of the planetary infrastructure upgrades is a space station, which the starting system has a level 1,000, but a Legion, while you have access to 1, 2, 3, 10, 20 threads, a Legion has the ability to gain 10 threads every time they upgrade one level of a space station. And space station can be upgraded to level 16, and you can have over a dozen planets. So you can imagine that 160 threads times 12 planets can process through a whole lot more refining and production than any single player can. So that's basically why you want to join a Legion, why you want to participate in the Legion's economy, so you can get better materials and better hulls and modules. And I think that kind of covers most of it. We kind of alluded to Space Mine and Space Station. Battlefield is something used by Legions when they're attempting to conquer a system. You'll have to fight the pirates that protect it, and this will involve real damage. So whereas the missions you fight as you're doing main missions, if I lose the battle here, if I get these modules destroyed, this is not real damage. Once the battle's over, I get these modules back. But in a Legion battle for a planet, anything you lose is permanent. I do think there's like some new damage mechanic that you'll get some of the modules and hulls back, and you got to repair that. But it does very much real damage, and you can lose everything. So this is something you want to be careful when you get around to it. We have had players who didn't know about that. There's some warnings you are shown that this is real damage, you can lose your ship. And they didn't read those and lost their ship and basically rage quit in spectacular fashion. The orb accelerator here is kind of something that gives you a quick summary of not just the orb accelerator, which is something that reduces the time to travel between moons and planets within a solar system, but the second number is the Stargate, and its level is something that can reduce the duration of travel between solar systems. So I don't have access to this right now, but something that opens up later on. Actually, this one of the nice things about this game is the tutorial kind of walks you through things, but you get stuff unlocked once you get to a stage in the game where it makes sense for you to check that out. Like, you've already got the basics down. Let me introduce you to a new concept. So that's kind of cool. The bottom left here, this is the chat. Right now it's mainly dominated by the Asian community, but I hear soon there will be an English-specific channel for discussion. This is the Legion-specific channel for discussion, and this just shows you what current wars are going on. It's not really for discussion, but just gives you an outline so you can participate in the salvage mechanics, which is something we can talk in another video. But for the English-speaking community, like I mentioned in the first video, join our Discord channel. There's a bunch of us. We're very helpful, so check it out. All right, I think this video has gone on long enough, so I'm going to stop here. And next set of videos, we'll keep going down the main missions and answer any other questions we have or dive deeper. All right, thanks everyone.